Hi, this is Metallian. I'm doing commentary on the finals of the No Holds Barred tournament that took place in February 2018. I've been asked to do this commentary by Night Fury of Pocket Tanks Tips, who hosted this tournament, and he hosts a lot of great tournaments. Check it out. Check out his app, Pocket Tanks Tips. It will make your game better. So I'm just going to provide my thoughts as we go through these matches. This is game one. It's me against HolyHandGrenade, who is a tremendous player. And this is the finals. So let's see how it goes. So initially, I'm backing up to the edge of the screen. Why? I don't always do this because I like to keep my moves for later in the game. But depends on the situation. In this case, I'm backing up to the edge of the screen because we only really have about 30 weapons activated. This tournament is a no holds barred tournament. It allows you can only use 30 weapons if you wish. You can even use proximity glitches in this tournament if you wish. So a typical sequence in these kinds of games, sometimes it's called stacked games because you're stacking the weapons. You have so many powerful weapons, one on top of the other in these kind of games. A typical sequence is for the first person to bury the other person in some way, and then the person in the B slot, shooting second, retaliates with an ant farm. So I'm moving to the back of the screen, to the edge of the screen, in anticipation of a possible ant farm, because ant farm is harder to hit against an opponent who's all the way to the edge. Because I do know that he's going to be in a position where he's not going to be able to hit me with any open air shots because this fire hose is going to put him in a hole that he can't shoot out of. So he comes back with a late bloomer, and I come back with an ant farm. Now, I really didn't want to do this. You know, he's already in a position where he can't hit me with an open air shot. So I don't want to waste a burying weapon here, but here's the problem. This little ledge right here really is hampering my angle from where I am because I did move back to the edge of the screen. I have to shoot it at a kind of a shallower angle to get into that hole from that distance. And this ledge is really in the way. I have a liquid nitrogen. I would love to put that in there. But if I shoot it here, it's just going to hit this. It's going to hit right around this edge here, and it's just going to I'm not going to get enough points out of it. So instead, I chose to go with an ant farm because ant farm tends to get a good bit of points when the opponent's in a hole like that, which it did here. I got almost 150. So now he does a breakout close. This tells me that he wants to enact a short game. He's obviously got some short-range weapons that he wants to use. Unfortunately, I don't have any. I wasn't offered any in the weapon shop here, so this is not a position I want to be in. I counter with a pipeline. Now the pipeline is hopefully going to put him in a hole, and it works perfectly. He's in a very shallow hole here. As you can see, he can't shoot out of it cleanly. So he counters with a bunker buster. He's just going to break this whole structure up. Yeah, that's not bad. But bunker buster is a good excavating weapon, and he had to use it here in a situation where he wasn't buried. So in a sense, he kind of wasted it there, but he had to. So strategically, I want to take advantage of that. I'm going to bury him. Plus, I just don't want to be involved in a short-range game. He does a tar ball here. Why? Why a tar ball there? Well, at the time I wasn't sure, but and knowing now what weapons he has a cyclone. And I think that he was estimating that it would cover me up a little more than it did, and he would be able to use a cyclone on me there. It did cover me up some, but I just decided to break out. Love the breakout. If a breakout is offered to me in the weapon shop, I'm taking it. Now, remember, he had to waste that bunker buster. And so he has to now excavate himself with a meltdown, which essentially is sort of a waste of a meltdown, but it is an alternate use of the meltdown, but it's not really the way you want to use it. So that's great for me, and he's in a hole where I can now use that liquid nitrogen, but you'll see here, he's partially buried, and I don't get the maximum value out of the nitrogen, unfortunately, because he is partially buried in a very narrow hole. And then he does a leapfrog. Look how beautiful this leapfrog is. Watch. He's going to jump. This is a tough angle. He's going to jump right perfectly out. Yeah, that's a beautiful shot. Because leapfrog is a little tricky to calculate. But he's vulnerable up on that flat ground to my second pipeline. So I put him down here in a hole. He is able to shoot out though, and he counters here with a jump rope. And one thing about HolyHandGrenade is he is good with a jump rope. So watch, this is about to come down on me for over 300 points. Ouch. So, I have a meltdown of my own. Landed here, and you'll see he goes down in the hole. The point here for me is just to try to put him in a deep hole that makes it hard for him to shoot out of. With a good player like HolyHandGrenade, you know, you want to make things difficult for him. You don't want to give him a lot of clean shots. But he is able to shoot out. All he has here is a great wall, but it does put me in that little hole there. It's right here. I can't get out of it. Not a good spot for me. So I counter with a Gamma Blaster at low power, of course. Good thing about Gamma Blaster is it'll tear up the ground and kind of make it hard. If somebody's already in a hole and you hit him with a Gamma Blaster, it's hard for them to shoot out of it. And as you can see, I don't think he can shoot out of this. So he ends up having to use his Cyclone here in a less than ideal way. So what I guess the story of this match, I'm just shooting my Crackdown to get rid of it here, is I was able to, he was trying to enact a strategy, and I was able to make him use his weapons ineffectively. The Cyclone, he didn't get max value out of that. Earlier, he had to use that Bunker Buster to get out of that hole, which put him in a position of having to use the Meltdown to escape some dirt. And so he didn't get to use his weapons the way he wanted to. He hit the jump rope. He got that perfectly. But in the end, it wasn't enough. And I was able to win game 1.